Hey you guys, welcome back for day 14 of the Do You Yoga 30-Day Yoga Challenge with me, Erin Motz. So today is kind of a shout out to all of you runners who were asking for it. We're going to be working on hamstrings and quads. So even if you're not a runner, this will still feel pretty good. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll meet you at the top of your mat. Okay, so we're actually going to start in downward facing dog today. So go ahead and tuck the toes under, sit up and back. You can walk the hands nice and far away from the feet and start to pedal out the legs a few times just to warm up. And take a few breaths here, no rush. And we're going to start in just a kneeling lunge on the right side. So when you're ready, go ahead and step that right foot all the way up to the hands and take the left knee down. So you can lift the chest up a little bit, just let the tailbone sink straight down towards the floor. Let the shoulders relax back and pull the belly in. So letting the pelvis be really heavy, take a couple breaths. And then gradually start to take the hands down. So frame that right foot. Tuck the left toes under and start to slide the hips back. So you're going to flex the right heel, bringing the toes towards you. And sit the hips back until you feel that stretch in the calf and in the hamstring. So I want you to look for a stretch in the meaty part of the leg. So in the muscular parts, that calf and the hamstring, if you feel it behind the knee, just bring the knee a little bit more bent. You don't really want to feel it there. So again, take a few breaths here. If you run or if you cycle or swim, a lot of times we get a lot of tightness built up in all of the muscles in the legs. So this will be something that'll feel good and not good at the same time. So take 2 more inhales. Keep the back nice and flat so you're reaching the sternum towards the toes. And then gradually shift the weight back forward, sinking the hips down. Lift the chest up. You can always take the arms up overhead if you wanted to. But if you want to relax the upper body, just let the arms be heavy. And take a couple more breaths. We're going to do the same thing again. So tuck the left toes under, take both hands down to frame that right foot, and start to slide the hips back. So flexing the right toes, keep reaching the sternum towards the front. So you're gently pulling the right hip back and the left hip forward. So try not to pop the hips to one side. You want to keep everything as square as possible. And if you can't quite reach the floor, you can always keep the hands on the shin or on the thigh here. So wherever you end up, take 3 more breaths. And this time we're going to sink the weight forward again. Lift the chest up. Last time. Keep that right foot firmly planted. Shoulders relax back. Pull the belly in. Easy to forget that part. Now I want you to take your left hand down to the floor. So you can keep the right hand on the right knee and just let the hips sink forward. If you feel like you're not getting enough of a stretch in that left quad, so you're looking for a stretch right through here, that back leg, the meaty part, the top of that left leg. But if you don't feel like you're getting enough in the hip flexor and in that quad, you can start to bend the left knee. And maybe take the right hand and reach back for the toes. So keep pressing the hips forward, opening the right shoulder back. You can look any direction that feels good. Take a few more breaths here. Gradually release the left leg. Make sure the right toes face forward. Let the hands come down to frame the foot and sit up and back. Downward facing dog. I know that's one that feels like, it's one of those things that hurts so good, as they say, right? Pedal out the legs a couple times. And keep lifting the tailbone up. And try to relax the head and the neck. So don't tense up the shoulders or anything. And we're going to flow through just one time just to get the body a little bit more warm. So on an inhale, shift the weight into the hands. Exhale, slowly press down right between the elbows. Maybe cobra, maybe up dog. And exhale, sit back, downward facing. So of course, we'll do the same thing to the left side. So when you're ready, take the left foot all the way up to the hands, keeping the right knee down. So make sure the left knee is in line with the toes. Lift the chest up and point the tailbone straight down. Shoulders relax back. So you're looking for that stretch in the hip flexor on the right leg into the quad. Breathe. I know it's easy to hold your breath through these, so try not to do it. So what'll happen is when you hold your breath, it actually restricts the blood flow to all of those different areas. So it doesn't do you any good anyway. So make sure you're breathing really deeply. And take one more full breath here. And then gradually take the hands down to frame the left foot. Flex the left toes, tuck the right toes under, and start to shift the weight back. So you're gently pulling the left hip back, right hip forward. And just hands on the floor, maybe hands on the shin, maybe on the thigh if you need it. So you're looking for that stretch in the thick parts of the leg. Hamstring, calf, not behind the knee. Think of the back of that leg softening down. Try not to resist. And I know that this is not a particularly rewarding feeling stretch. It feels like you're going nowhere, but I promise that's not the case. It'll happen, you just have to let go into it. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, shift the weight forward again, making sure your alignment is still good, so knee over toes, shoulders relax back, gently tucking the tailbone down. Breathe. So just let the hips be heavy. Last time to sit back. Take the hands down. Flex the left toes. Pull the left hip back, right hip forward, and start to sit the weight behind you. Flat spine, so you're reaching the sternum towards the toes. Keep everything really long. Breathe. And gradually start to press forward again. This time the right hand is going to stay down just like we did on the other side. So the right hand stays on the floor. You're twisting to the inside of that left thigh. And maybe keep the left hand resting. Or if you need a little more, you can bend that right knee. Reach for the right foot and keep sinking the hips forward. So here you'll get a really deep stretch in the right quad. So only pull the heel as far in as you can keep the hips down. So you don't want to end up doing this, because then you're not stretching anymore. So keep the hips pressing forward. Let gravity do its thing. Keep opening the shoulder back. And take 2 more inhales. And gradually release. Take your time. Make sure the left toes are still facing forward. Let both hands frame the left foot. You can tuck the right foot under, sit up and back, downward facing dog. Pedal at the feet if you want to. And on your next inhale, shift the weight forward to plank right into the hands. And exhale, extra slow, lower down, right between the elbows. Maybe cobra, maybe up dog. And sit it back. Downward dog. So we're going to come into pyramid on the right side. So when you're ready, go ahead and step the right foot up just behind the hands rather. So the left heel will come down at a slight angle, and you can stand up. So think of like being on train tracks. The feet are staggered, the right hip is pulling back, the left hip is pulling forward, so the hip bones are even. And then you're going to have a flat back as you fold forward. So keep the belly pulled in, keep the ribs hugging forward. Maybe take the hands to the thigh, maybe to the shin, maybe all the way to the floor. But wherever you end up, you want that back to remain straight and flat. So if you have blocks, you can use them. Otherwise, your leg works just as well. So look just ahead of the right toes. Don't lock out the right knee. Keep a little tiny bend so you don't hurt the joint there. Take 2 more breaths. And slowly take both hands down. You can bend the right knee as deeply as you need to. Step the left foot in to meet the right and come to a forward fold. So relax the head and the neck down. Reaching the crown of the head towards the floor. Bend the knees as much as you need to. And I'm just going to have you step the right leg back and do the same thing. So the right leg will step back about the same amount of space. The right toes turn out at a very slight angle. Left toes face forward. And keep hugging the left hip back and the right hip forward. Pull the belly in, hug the upper ribs down, and flat back all the way down. Keep a little bend in the left knee. Hands to the thigh, maybe to the shin, maybe to the floor. Keep lifting the sternum forward. Relax the neck. So keep that left side body long. It's like you're pulling the hip away from the armpit. And just take 3 more breaths. And bend that knee gradually. Step the hands forward. Bring the right foot in to meet the left and take another forward fold. Relaxing the head and the neck down. And we'll move through another vinyasa. So inhale up to flat back, lifting the chest. Exhale, fold. Slowly step the feet back to plank. Shifting your weight forward, press down. Maybe cobra, maybe up dog. Exhale, take it back. Downward facing. Take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, go ahead and step the feet up to the hands. And lift the chest enough so that you have lots of room to bend the knees and sit down. So I just want you to stretch the legs out in front of you, and we're going to come to a seated forward fold. So letting the shoulders roll back, sitting up really tall on the hips. Keep the belly pulled in, flex the heels, and start to reach out towards the feet. So maybe you don't get very far, and that's okay. So you can let the hands just frame the legs, maybe reaching all the way out. So again, you're reaching with that chest, not with the face. So don't worry about folding in half. Think about the extension. So you're lengthening as far out as you can. And just take a few more breaths. Gradually release the hands, walk them in. You can bend the knees, and we're going to roll all the way down. We'll do one final stretch for the quads for now, and I'm going to give you 2 different options. So first option is just going to be a low bridge. So you can take the palms down, facing the floor, and then you can start to lift the hips up. So you're pressing into the heels, rolling the shoulders back, and tucking the tailbone down towards the knees. So you have that nice, long lower back. And again, the palms are flat, shoulders are pressing firmly into the floor. So here, if you're really quite inflexible in the tops of the legs, you may feel a stretch already into the hip flexors and down the tops of the thighs. If you're quite flexible already, I'll give you another option to try that I think feels really good, but you'll have to tell me how you like it. So you'll set up the same way. So if you like low bridge, you can certainly stay here. If you want that next level, that next option, you're going to lift the hips up the same way you would, and then I want you to start to shuffle the shoulders down towards the feet. So you're going to come up to the balls of the feet and shuffle, one little bit at a time, so don't rush it. Shuffle, shuffle. So you'll notice that as you start to move closer to the heels naturally come off the floor. So you're going to keep going, you're going to hold on to the ankles, and just let the knees start to come down towards the mat. So maybe you stay on the back of the head. If you want, you can prop all the way up to the crown of the head. Or you can just kind of chill. So I don't want you to be feeling this in your lower back. So if you do, just go ahead and back it off a little bit. And you'll come out the same way you came in. So you can shuffle, shuffle, shuffle back. All the way down. Heels come down. Now don't feel like you have to stay there for any extended period of time or you have to come down when I do. It's just an option. So keep in mind that you can do either of those. When you're done, hug the knees into the chest and just kind of rock left and right. And take a couple more breaths here. And keep the eyes closed. You can hug the knees, slowly lift yourself back up. Turn to the front of your mat. Sitting comfortably, allowing the knees to fall down. And actually keep the soles of the feet together this time, just to finish a little differently. So if you walk the feet further out, it'll be easier to sit up tall. So let the knees relax. Keep the shoulders back and down. And take 2 more inhales. And on your next breath in, circle the arms all the way up overhead, bringing the palms together. And exhale, take the hands right down to the heart center, sealing in your practice. Let the eyes open. Namaste. Awesome job, you guys, as usual. Be sure to come back tomorrow. We're going to be working on a flow that doesn't require any getting on the floor. So I know a lot of you want to do this outside, so we'll do a no wrist, no shoulder flow. It's going to feel really, really good. Get your daily yoga at doyouyoga.com and be sure to follow me on Facebook. As always, be good, feel good, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.